All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel here. Um, yeah, so the Flyers lose 3-2 to the Avalanche here in Game 30. Not the best game overall. They've lost 16 of their last 18. Um, I'm going to be honest, I'm not too into it at the moment. I posted earlier about my dog. She's kind of going through a tough time right now, so I apologize if I seem a little off. I was okay for the podcast, but kind of kept it together a little, but not doing so hot. So lines in this one: Van Riemsdyk, Frost, Tippett, Hayes, Cates, Konechny, Sedlak, Lawton, and Farabee, Delorier, Brown, and Willman. So no McEwen for this one. I mentioned the lines in the podcast, but they were a little jumbled because there wasn't. McEwen went in Morgan, but he didn't play. Provorov, there's the line in Sanheim and York, Sealer and Braun, and Sandstrom starts for this one. Sandstrom actually had a really good game despite pretty much being peppered for most of it. I thought the Flyers didn't really give him much of a chance, and that's kind of been the story of Sandstrom's small NHL career so far. Is the majority of the games that he has played, he hasn't really been given a shot. And the Flyers outshoot Colorado in this game, but really that's because of a late push and some chances in the later stages of the third. But the first period was more Colorado. They had more chances. The Flyers only had 6 shots, but they ended up scoring the first goal. They've done that for the 8th time in 30 games. So in 22 of the 30 games, they've given up the first goal, which is not a good recipe to win. The Avs got 2 power plays in this period. One was a Farabee high stick. The other one was an interference call. The high stick might have been able to be a embellishment, but it wasn't. It was a pretty quick power play. It felt like the Flyers I thought the Flyers did a good job in general on the kill tonight. One pass ended up going through the slot, but that was it. Really wasn't much going on throughout the majority of the game. There's only 3 shots in the first 7 minutes, and then a power play wasn't much for the Avs. But the Flyers get the first goal, like I just mentioned. York scores. Beautiful play. Face-off win from Frost gets a little help from Tippett. Back to the point, and York did his little stutter step move. We've seen him do that a lot, and it was just a really nice play. And, it was just a sweet play in general. He gets a shot off and follows it up and just kind of tucks in. It was a good play in front from JVR, getting in front, being the screen. And, again, JVR has been really good since coming back. There's been a lot of good things that he's done, not even just, points or scoring or anything like that. Genuinely, he's been a good forward, and he's actually had a really solid season, outside of the injury, because he's played less games. So it's 1-0. They had a handful of decent plays in this period after that, but they couldn't get much going. Then the connecting interference call, Maher bumped in. Maher literally skated into him. So they call it interference. I don't really think that was a penalty, but anyway. So it's called. Flyers actually did a good job on the kill. The Avalanche looked a little out of sync. Again, they're missing so many guys. Landeskog, McKinnon. They don't have Manson. He wouldn't be playing, but they have Byram and all that stuff. Or Manson wouldn't be playing with power play, I should say. You have Byram, right? You have these other guys that, you have some upfront guys, more your depth guys. They have 8 guys out, and they still have 20 games off of the Flyers due to, man games due to injury. So it is what it is. Couple nice clears by the Flyers. Delorier, Risto, Cates as well, and Frost ended up just missing a breakaway, and then they had a chance late to score, but pretty good period overall. The penalty kill came up well. Sandstrom had some good saves for not playing, and today would have been 18 days. So definitely good to see that. But in the second period, they just did nothing offensively. I mean, literally nothing. They had a handful of chances. Hayes had a pass in tight for Konechny. Sanheim had a chance late on a 2-on-1 rush. Outside of that, not much, and they give up 2 goals. One from Taze, who scored off the rush. It was a 3-on-2, slipped at 5-0. And before all of this goal, Sandstrom was keeping the Flyers in this game. Like, this could have been 2-1, 3-1 Avalanche before the Flyers even kind of got back into this period a little bit later. But yeah, just again, they just don't create much off offensively. They just don't. I mean, there's just really no, I guess, explanation for it. But besides that, like, they just don't create enough offense, and that's the biggest problem. And you're gonna need plays from your D to kind of step up, and the offense wasn't getting it going. And I thought the Flyers D actually was good in this game for the most part. There were a couple forwards that stood out to me, like Van Riemsdyk and Lawton. And I thought Lawton had a quietly pretty good game, and Van Riemsdyk, obviously, who I've really liked since coming back, but outside of that, not much. And again, Avs score, they tie it off the, again, 3-on-2 rush, and Provorov pinched, and then Frost didn't, I guess, I don't know if he didn't see him or just didn't kind of get back in time. I'm not too sure. But it looked like he tipped the pass a little bit, just wasn't enough, and slipped it right through. It almost actually went on goal without Taves getting a shot. That's how close he was to the net. But the Avs would get a power play. A couple really nice plays from Lawton and Cates. And then it was 4-on-4. The Flyers finally get a power play, whether it was extended time or what. They actually had some looks where they actually could have drawn a couple of penalties and they weren't called. There was a couple holding, couple of stick plays that weren't called, maybe some hooks, slashing on the hand, stuff like that wasn't called. I was watching the game with my dad, and most of it was, I'm like, oh my god, like, how are they not calling these? And finally they get one here. So again, they have the 2-on-1 rush from Sanheim, and this was on the 4-on-4. You have to get a shot, or at least hit the net. I mean, Sanheim gets the shot off, but he didn't even look for a pass. There was a trailer behind him, and he misses the net way wide, and it rings all the way around. It's like, you got to hit the net there. Then they do nothing with the rest of this power play. The TV broadcast said it made a weird hop off the glass, and I looked at it. I watched the goal maybe 4 or 5 times. It wasn't that weird of a bounce. It deflected off of a stanchion, and York, all he had to do was change his little bit of direction. They were just so lackadaisical on the power plays they had that Lehkonen beat him to it and scored 5-all. It wasn't this weird bounce that, made York, going one way and it's all the way on the other side of the ice. Like, it was a slight change. It wasn't anything too crazy, and it's 2-1, and the Flyers, they get a power play late after a good final 5 minutes. They actually woke up a little bit. That power play carried over for a minute, 15 seconds. They just did nothing with it. JVR on Frost had a nice setup for Provorov. He didn't get much on it, though. I honestly wish Frost shot that. There's been a lot of plays this year where I've said to myself, oh, God, I wish he shot that. And I'm talking about Frost because he hasn't really been able to highlight his shot as much. Besides literally the first game of the season against New Jersey where he scored that one-timer in front. He just has not scored a certain goal like that where he's just fired a bullet of a shot. And outside of that, the Flyers had a good shift from the third line. Provorov had just fired a muffin at the net with no traffic, but they generated look hit for that. Sanheim had a chance in the slot. Nice give and go from Hayes and Konechny, and then Comfer scores. And this is a total breakdown from Sealer and Braun. Blame whoever you want here. I more blame Sealer because you have to realize that Braun is on that side already, and regardless of Braun is a pretty old defenseman and isn't as quick and fast as he could have, or once was, and he's not going to get back, and also not much help from the center there, which was Frost. So it's realistically it's a whole breakdown, excuse me, but to me that's more on Sealer because you're in front of the net and you rushed all the way over to the wall to pin the guy on the wall, and he still made the play anyway. So why would you rush all the way over there when you had a little chance of actually stopping the play anyway and putting Braun in a worse situation than they score in front of the net and give Sandstrom no help at all? Again, you need a little bit of help from a forward there, but don't be so aggressive into the corner all the time because that's what's going to kill you, and it does right there. So Farabee had a chance in the slot off of a Sedlak drop pass, and then the Flyers pulled the goal with around 4 minutes left. Pull the goal, we take a timeout with a minute 35 left. And then it was around 4 minutes. And they actually scored to connect these scores. Tipped in front by JVR, maybe. It was a really nice shot from the bumper, good play. Connecting, I've talked about all year how good he's basically been from that spot. But Farabee had a play late where the pass gets tipped out of the zone. He looks really off. Like, and again, I've mentioned this before. Like, there are times when Farabee looks great, and there are times when Farabee looks like really, really, really out of it. Tonight was one where he looked really, really, really out of it. Like, just flat out, just bad. Like, he's so streaky. And I think that's part of the problem is, like, he's so, again, good one game. It's kind of like you're picking flowers. Again, it's so frustrating because they just don't create enough offense. And, again, the young guys stepping up again in this game. They still do lose, but last game, Frost, Tippett, those guys get some points. They generate for one of the goals tonight. York scores, who I thought had a really solid game. Again, I thought all the defensemen were good too. I mean, well, I shouldn't say that. More of the top four. I didn't really love the third pair tonight. But, it is what it is. And then they're just not going to create enough offense. And that's the biggest problem. So, yeah. Thanks, everybody, so much for watching. Remember to, if you missed Dave Poulin, which was a great interview, please check that out. That is on YouTube and will be on audio platforms soon. Also, episode 22 is going to have Mike Doc Emmerich on, which I'm very excited for. Yeah, we're on the road to 2K, so hit that subscribe button if you guys enjoyed this video. And I'll talk to you all again soon.